Hi, here is an update video number 7 of my HO scale model railroad layout, and I am currently working on the industrial area. I'm putting in some sidewalks and the road and the cement areas for parking and backing up of the semis, and this video just shows kind of the middle step. I have a whole bunch of the work done already. But I'm going to show some of the process that I'm using and some of the techniques, and we'll just go around. And I noticed I got a lot done since my last video, so we'll just go over some of that progress too. In this scene you can just see a few of my buildings I have scattered around that are going to be going on the layout. And here we are. This is kind of the back side of the industrial layout, and here I have some of the joint compound that I'm using for my roadways, and I've already gone over this a couple of times. I use a razor blade in some cases to smooth it out just by scraping it like this, and then I also have the sandpaper that I sand to do some smoothing with, and I have to go over it a few times, it seems, in order to get it smooth. And sometimes I have to add some additional sheetrock mud. You can see there's a lot of pocks left here, and some of those I'm going to leave in as if the cement has been weathered, and in some cases I'll be filling some of them in to make it smoother. But the road is coming through like this, and then there's a T right there, and it comes in through this way, and then you can see some of these industrial areas where the cement is in between the tracks, and this is just the sheetrock mud that I have spread out here. And I kind of went around with the razor blade around the edges of the road, and I think I'm going to make the road to look like blacktop, and then these other areas are going to be made to look like cement. And this is just still the raw intermediate project, but I put some lines in here, scored some lines to look like the joints in between the different pourings of the concrete. And I had to kind of work around this livestock pen and the livestock unloading area for everything. But this is a parking lot that I'm working on right here. And I use some 14 gauge wire around the edge here to get an edge. And the wire is still in. A lot of the wire I've taken out. So this is going to be some parking and some turnaround, and this is just like some industrial track here that's going to be so I can drive over it with my automobiles and trucks, and then the train's going to be able to run through here. And here's a little bit more of the roadway, and this is not quite completed yet. I've gone over it a couple of times, and I had to add a little bit more mud, and then the sidewalk is right here. And it is raised up about 0.1 inch. It doesn't need to really be raised up that high, and I had to add a little bit of width to it. I had to make it a little bit wider, and there's going to be lights in there, so I want the sidewalk to be a scale 5 feet wide at least. And here's a couple of the buildings that I have in place, and this is part of the iron works, but I have other videos where I built these buildings, and they're going to be lighted. The lights are already in. And then this area in front here is where the semis are going to be able to back up on this side and load and unload. And then this is where this is like the original freight shed. And so this is still in use, and I had to build up a little pad around here for this freight shed. There's going to be an additional freight shed beyond the 2 gravel elevators. And that'll be a place right there where the elevators are, where I'll be able to unload hopper cars, gravel into some dump trucks. And there's going to be the freight building that's going to go over here. And then all these different smaller structures are going to go along the sidewalk area over here. So the smaller structures are going to be lining up in here, along here, and parking area over there. So anyway, that's kind of the new stuff that I'm working on right now. And going around here, some other buildings that I've installed since the last video. And this is kind of a dry wash area here, and I just use some natural rocks and such, and I put in the water tank and a maintenance building there. And here's my coal tower. And this is where they're going to be, the coaling station is. And this is all I'm going to have for maintenance facilities in this area. And then here you can see I got a lot of the scenery done. In this, here is a water body, looks more like a pond, and that's so it's going to be a pond right here. And I used the mod podge glossy product there, and I got a little forest area on the edge here, and there my wife put a bear in there, so add a little bit of nature wildlife into the scene. And here you can see a little group of trees, and then there's the boarding house that I've added, and this little blacktop area. I think I may fade down a little bit more, but there's the boarding house, and we have some working lights along there. And then here I did a bunch of landscaping around. I added a tree. I did a lot of the landscaping here around the logging area. And since the last video, I noticed I did some additional landscaping around here. I put in some dirt, added an outhouse. I still might add a burning area here for sawdust, for burning the sawdust, kind of like a western thing going on there. And anyway, finished a lot of the landscaping around here. I added this little ramp, put a couple rocks down there, and then I added this here. I added a few more trees over here, but there's the tunnel, and I added some cows and some sheep, and then I added this kind of cool western looking building here, kind of like some old farmer lives here, old rancher, and he's got a few livestock, and I added some shrubs on there and such. So here's pretty much all the progress that we have to date. Here's my lifelike GP18, and anyway, that's it for now. And here's just a little bit of an overview of the areas that we've just completed, and here's the area that I'm working on, and here's the area from the previous videos. And thanks for watching, and have fun with your hobby.